Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon, I am the Wisdom Wench and I am a community herbalist now. I have finished year 2 of the plant medicine school, which is officially completing the herbal apprenticeship. We're about to move on to year 3 and we're going on to the clinical herbalist course. So I thought I'd tell you all about my experience so far and what the next steps actually mean. Grab a tea, get comfy, get cozy, and let's talk about herbalism. You can sit there. That's cute. That's aesthetic, right? Oh, my microphone's on a spoon because I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of trying to attach it to me. Today's tea is it's a bit of a mix. I put in lemon, verbena, rose and mugwort. I just really fancied that as a combo. And you know what? That's really good. I like that. If you're new here, I just finished year 2 of the plant medicine school. Now, if you don't know already, the plant medicine school splits its professional training into 2 separate courses. There is a reason for this and I'll get into that. But year 1 and 2 is the community herbal apprenticeship, and that gives you the community herbalism part of the course. Then you can choose to continue to year 3, 4 and 5, and that gets you the clinical herbalist part of the course. So I've got the first part, my community herbalist certificate, and I'm about to move on to 3rd year. So we'll get into that in a second, but let's talk about what actually a community herbalist is. So the plant medicine school on their website define community herbalists as being able to identify at least 50 and preferably more local plants and have knowledge of their food and medicine use, explain the principles of ethical foraging, have basic knowledge of botany, be able to explain how to grow and harvest plants, knowledge of nutrition, understanding of energetics, working knowledge of anatomy and physiology. They do not have the clinical experience or skills to be able to diagnose or prescribe extemporaneous preparations for a fee, but can give advice. And they are able to run workshops on these various aspects and to grow herbs or make artisan products. The main difference that people will be looking at between the community and the practitioner part of the course is the ability to diagnose and prescribe, especially for a fee. I personally really loved year 2. So year 1 was all about plants, medicine making, getting into nutrition a bit. Year 1 was more practical. Year 2 I've found to be a lot more theoretical. We've been working on anatomy and physiology, diving into nutrition a lot more, which I have loved. I loved the nutrition assignment. I genuinely had so much fun doing it, to the point where I think I'm going to undertake some training in the future to do with nutrition and add that into my practice because I loved it. I've read a lot about nutrition as a vegan anyway to make sure that I'm getting everything that I need. I've definitely had a joy and an interest in it, but being able to sit and focus on it and do an entire assignment on nutrition, I had so much fun. I loved it. Definitely going to incorporate that into my practice over time, specifically plant-based nutrition. That's one of the continuous assignments. The other one is to do between 20 and 24 plant profiles throughout the 2 years. So you submit 12 in year 1 and 12 in year 2. I submitted them on a different schedule, but I did that with the go-ahead from my mentor and from Jane, who runs the Exmoor school where I go. It's really important to communicate with your mentors, not just do random shit, okay? Like, talk to them. So my schedule was slightly different. I showed them bits and pieces as I was going, but it's because I was actually trying to make a presentation, which I can show you. I'm going to make a video in the near future about how to make a plant profile, and because I do it in 2 steps. I do a processing document and then I do a presentation document. The processing document is more important for learning, but it's not like how I like to present my work. So this is what I did. I've made a glossary and I made 1-page summaries of the things I'd learned on my 20 plant profiles because I wanted to make something that I would constantly go back to. I write these huge 18-page documents for all these plants, all in my own words, all of my own research. And it means that I know these plants really, really well. I can talk about them at length. I know how to use them very effectively. I know what's safe and I know what's not. I also don't like presenting that because it doesn't show what I can do. I uploaded a couple of them for my mentors and teachers to see so they could see, hey, I am doing the work. So I ended submitting these. And these are one-page summaries of everything that I learn, which is really hard to do when you've learned so much about all the plants. But the way I learn best and the way I teach others the best is when I've taken all of this information and I should be able to synthesize it into one page and explain it. For me and the way I learn, and I've learned this very acutely over the last 2 years with plant medicine school, I don't know something unless I can explain it in the simplest of terms to anyone. I've talked a little bit about my educational background before, but I did my bachelor's degree in journalism and we had the man in the pub test. And that means any story, you should be able to take it to your average man in the pub, sit down next to him and explain it. And he should understand it. If you can do that, then you know the story. I treat plant profiles the exact same way. If I can't explain it in the most simplest written terms, I don't know it. And that is where this came about. I love this. I actually refer back to this quite a lot. This is like the first draft of something that I'm actually going to use in my own practice. I'm going to change it a bit because practice-wise, there's a few different things that I want to have in there. But this is the beginning of something that I'm actually going to practice with other people, which is exciting and which is the thing that I wanted to make and wanted to present. And look at her. I love her so much. I actually really enjoyed making these. Towards the end, I pulled some real late nights making this. I think I'm probably most proud of my hawthorn one, actually. It looks really simple, but I got to know hawthorn really, really well over this process. And it's going to forever have a special place in my heart now. I learned, I think, some of the most interesting things I've ever learned about plant medicine while studying hawthorn, which I didn't think I would. Something that I thought, oh, that's a British plant for the heart. Of course I'm going to put that in my plant profile, became something a lot more to me. And I've been very, very happy with it. My nutrition assignment's in here as well. For the nutrition assignment, we had 3 case studies and we had to make meal plans for them. What I really loved about the nutrition assignments is everyone did something really different. People took a lot of their own life experiences. People changed the case studies to people that they actually know. My class really kind of dove in deep with the case studies, which was really cool to see. I learnt a lot from the people on my course through the nutrition assignment and through the last day of the intensive when we all gathered round and talked about our nutrition assignments. The anatomy and physiology assignments, we had a colouring book. I loved it. I had so much fun. I learnt a lot through doing that. So you have videos and texts to read and things, but then you have a colouring book. And I did that while I was watching the videos, and I actually found that it went in a lot more, which I didn't think it would. So I'd be listening to the videos or watching the videos on the heart while colouring the relevant colouring book pages on the heart, and then it clicked in a way that it's never clicked before. So I did the first year at Hartwood, we did A&P and we did these body systems as well. It never clicked until I kind of took this physical act with it. And I've learned a lot about my learning style while studying with the plant medicine school because I've had the freedom to do so. I think the biggest thing I've loved about the plant medicine school so far is the freedom I have around learning. The freedom to learn how I learn and the encouragement and support to learn in the way that works for me, that in the way that my brain works, and not feeling like I have to fit myself into it a certain way. I feel like I'm learning, I don't feel like I'm ticking boxes. And that's been such a refreshing thing. I've had a lot of kind of internal patterns and wounds from old schooling things come up, and I've had the space to kind of work through them and face them and heal them by being able to learn the way I actually learn and want to learn. I feel incredibly lucky to be learning under Jane. Jane is the head of the Exmoor School. She is amazing. I've had lovely mentors. I think I've had 2 different mentors over the last 2 years. And each one of my mentors always reminded me, whenever I came to them about something, that I'm doing this for me and it is supposed to be fun. And that clicked something in me that it hadn't done before, because I think every time I've ever done schooling, I've done it because I've had to, not because I want to. Now I'm an adult and I'm paying to do this. Yeah, I should be having fun. And yeah, I'm gonna have fun. And I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it and the way that I want to learn. And I'm supported in doing that. As long as I hit the criteria, which is I learn about this way, I learn about this thing, this body system, this plant. As long as I've learned it and can prove that I've learned it, they're okay with the way that I choose to learn, or the way that feels most natural to me. And I've felt very supported in that. In terms of practicalities of doing the course, each year through year 1 and 2, there are 2 immersives, so 2 full intensives to go to, which are about 3 days long. If you're me and you live really far away, 5 days, because you need the day before to travel. And I would travel back the day after. I've started traveling back on the last day. The way the plant medicine school works is that there are no exams. It's continuous assessment. So by that they mean you are constantly uploading stuff. You are constantly in conversation with your tutors, with your mentors. You're letting them know where you're at and what's happening. You're asking for help when you need it. You're going to the live Zooms, and if not, you are watching them back. Plus you're watching the content videos that are out, reading the selected passages, so on and so forth, the normal study things. It's a private course, you don't get funding, it's expensive. So the work-life balance side of things has been very important to me. And I really struggled in probably September through to January. I had a lot happening. And a lot of life changes all happened at the exact same time in a 4 or 5 month period. I had to kind of reevaluate and prioritize a bit more. I was working so much, I was volunteering so much, I was doing so many things that studying took a hit. So I chose to give up a volunteering position that I really love doing, and I chose to minimize my hours of work as much as possible. So I'm only doing bare minimum contracted hours. That's really helped, giving me more time to study. It's hit home that I can't do everything in a good way. I don't have a well of time and energy to do absolutely everything all the time. I have to take it slow. I've got to prioritize. And I'm going to have to say yes to something, it means saying no to something else. And I chose to prioritize schooling, so I dropped a lot of other things, and I don't feel bad for it. At the time I really did. I got, I think, massive anxiety about if I'm dropping my hours, that's less money coming in, or if I give up this volunteering position that I've worked so hard for, what does that mean about me? All of these things. But in the end, it was the right thing to do, to drop those things, to prioritize schooling. And it means that in my general everyday life, I've had to become more frugal in order to afford to study. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me at all. I actually kind of have fun with the challenge sometimes. I had a question on YouTube about the course. This is from Heart Ease Finn. Has it given you a deeper connection with certain plants? What preparations are you enjoying making the most? Do clinical herbalists specialize in certain areas of health? If so, what interests you the most? Love it. Okay, so I've got a much deeper connection with hawthorn, which I wasn't expecting. Hawthorn's always been a plant that I've walked past and, like, the flowers are pretty. That's kind of been the extent of my thoughts about it. And the same with linden. Hawthorn and linden in particular, I have a very, very close connection with now. I love those plants. If you ever get seen or treated by me for any reason, I'll probably end up recommending linden for something. I just do. I love that plant so much. And what else am I quite close to now? I've also, maybe not the deepest connection with the plant, but I have a real respect for ginger. I've always loved ginger and used it in cooking and all sorts. But I have a very deep respect for what ginger as a plant can actually do and its history and how it's been used. And I have more of a reverence for mugwort than I did before. I've always loved mugwort. I've used it a lot. I've had it in a lot of teas. I like it in smoke blends. I like it in incense. I now have a reverence for it, I think. More of a kind of like a sacred plant. That's just how I feel towards it. It's definitely shifted how I look at a lot of different plants. I think it's made me a little more understanding that I don't have to have a connection with every plant that I research. Because some plants I just don't connect with on that kind of level. Still love using them in practice. Still think they're wonderful, powerful, amazing plants. But I don't connect with them in the same way, and I've learned that that's okay. And I don't need to have a connection with every single plant. And then, what preparations are you enjoying making the most? I've always loved teas. I always will love teas. I know this is so boring, but I love teas. I always will. I'm really interested, and I haven't made one yet, but interested in glycerites. I want to get some glycerin and actually make a few. Because I've got a load. I've got glycerites up here. That's a glycerite. I've got the premenstrual piece from Forage Botanicals, the Passiflora and Licorice Glycerite. I swear by that stuff, by the way. And I love glycerite preparations. I take more glycerites than I do tinctures. And so I really want to get good at making glycerites. So they're things that I want to make. Teas I love to make. Oils, actually. I love making an oil. I think external preparations are things I really like making them. And infused oils always have like the most beautiful colours as well. And you can do so much with an oil. You can make you can use it as is. You can make a salve depending on the plants that you've used. You can make vinegars. You can like mix it with vinegar and make salad dressings. There's so much versatility in an oil. And I really love that about an oil. My favourite carrier is sweet almond oil. And obviously if you're allergic to almonds, please don't have it. But sweet almond oil is my favourite. Do clinical herbalists specialise in certain areas of health? If so, what interests you the most? Clinical herbalists do tend to specialise. So when you move through to the clinical part of different courses, basically you're learning enough to be, I guess, a general practitioner of herbal medicine. So you learn a lot about different things and then you start specialising. It's very, very common people to specialise in women's health. Some people will specialise specifically in menopause. Some will specialise in skincare. I really like Sam Kaufman's work, and he you can think of him as a specialised clinical herbalist specialising in disaster support with herbs. So there's a lot that you can do for specialities. What am I interested the most in? I have a few different areas that I am very interested in herbs-wise. The one I'm most interested in, and is simultaneously the most illegal, is I really like the research coming out on psychedelic plants and its treatment of depression, anxiety, PTSD. I read a lot of that research as it comes out. I'm very interested in that. I'm someone who's always been pro-legalization, and because I do want to work with that in my practice. If it becomes legalized here in the UK, I will incorporate that into my herbal practice, and that is probably where I would specialize. Mental health, I'm looking at specializing in herbs to help with the treatment of anxiety, depression, of post-traumatic stress, herbs in end-of-life care. So they're, I guess, the main places I'm currently looking at when it comes to herbs and where I might specialize, but I'm not making any set in stone decisions yet. I think I'm going to learn the most while I go and do my clinics from year 3, 4, 5 onwards. I want to work with people who are working in those areas. They're legal ones, of course. Learn that that's actually what I want to do. I don't want to go headfirst into something because I like the idea of it. I want to make sure that I like it in practice. So that's my current area of thinking. Thank you for your question. I really enjoyed that. So what does it mean for year 3? So here's how it works. With the plant medicine school, you do the community apprenticeship. You do year 1 and 2. Then you reapply for year 3. So you basically get the community herbal apprenticeship, and then you reapply to go in as a clinical and professional practitioner. The reason for that is the plant medicine school don't really want you to take a break through years 3, 4, and 5 because you interrupt your clinics. They put this gap in between year 2 and 3 where you can have a very comfortable gap year, and a lot of students do. As far as I'm aware right now, I only know of 6 people that are going to be in my class next year. A lot of people are going and taking gap years. It's perfectly normal to take a gap year. It's recommended to take a gap year if your life is quite busy, if you're not sure what you want to do or where you want to go, or if you're just a little bit overwhelmed with the studies, taking a gap year. And so in my 3rd year, I'm having people returning from their gap year and going into year 3 as well. Some people choose to completely leave after the community herbal apprenticeship because they've got what they need at that point. It depends on what you want to do in herbalism. The only real point of doing a clinical course is to be a clinician. If you don't want to be a clinician, you can do most things with a community herbal apprenticeship course. So people, if they've got what they want from that point, they can kind of go with that. They don't necessarily need to go forward. Gap years are really common because year 2 can feel a little bit intense. I certainly felt it was quite intense, but in a good way, like a good intense. So I reapplied, got onto year 3, thankfully. I knew I was going on to year 3, and I know I'd done all the work. I know I'd ticked every box. I still panicked that I wasn't getting onto year 3. I think that's like a historical schooling thing that's still there for me, but hey ho. And now I am prepping for year 3. I'm making a completely separate video of everything that I am doing to prepare for year 3, including all of my equipment. There are some recommended books and equipment that you need for year 3. I'll show you all of that in my preparation for year 3 video, which will come out in the next couple weeks when I've recorded it. That was a very rambly video about my experience with the plant medicine school. To summarize, I loved it. I'm going to continue on with the plant medicine school. I'm going to continue to study at the plant medicine school. I feel very at home there. I feel very connected to my studies. I have learnt more in the last 2 years with the plant medicine school while being prescribed less work than I did at my previous herbal schools, because I don't feel stuck. I feel like I can learn the way I need to learn, and because of that, I learn and I research and I go down these massive rabbit holes, and then I synthesize and actually have that information, and I'm proud of that. I had a great time. I'm so looking forward to year 3 and to continue on. I really can't wait. But that's enough about me. If you have any questions about the community herbal apprenticeship or my experience with it, just shoot me an email. You can comment down below. I often have students emailing me. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to. And I will see you in the next one. Have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are. Try this tea. It's very good. Lemon, verbena, rose and mugwort. And I'll see you for the next one. Bye guys.